A little less than a year ago, Ja Morant was the hottest thing going in the NBA and one of the brightest stars we've ever seen. His high-flying dunks, reverse layups, ankle-breaking crossovers, even missed dunks went viral every night. And due to his great play, scoring, being most improved, he was dubbed Iverson 2.0, the second coming of Derrick Rose, and mini Russell Westbrook. And where Ja's stardom really peaked was in a game versus the Spurs where he dropped 50. And even more impressive than that, on social media, his alley-oop buzzer beater had an astounding 42 million views and went viral. Back then, Ja's approval rating was 99.9%, and you couldn't find a single person to say a bad thing about this young star. Now, unfortunately for Ja, his downfall came in the playoffs, really, versus the Golden State Warriors. And since that series, it's been a steady decline to where we are now. As after Game 3 versus the Warriors, he had the broke the code comments that went viral, got a ton of pushback for that. This year, he had the infamous I'm fine in the West comments that again went viral. Also this year, he had an incident at the mall in Memphis with a security guard versus the Pacers allegedly. There was a laser pointed at their bus. Back in his hometown, allegedly, he pulled a gun on a kid, beat him up after a basketball game, and in Colorado, had a gun with strippers dropping $100K. And of course, you guys know most recently, Ja Morant once again was seen dangling a gun on IG Live. Now look, all those incidents, they're not equal. Saying I'm fine in the West is not the same as having a gun with strippers. What I'm showing you guys is the downfall of Ja Morant has been a series of events, whether it be on the court or even off the court. And after being one of the most popular superstars, he's widely mocked and even shamed by NBA fans now. And when it comes to the gun incidents, what's so bad about this? It's not one isolated incident. At this point, it's a trend in behavior that is just sad to see and sad to watch. As his first gun offense in the strip club, that was a bad scene, it was bad optics, it wasn't something you want to see out of a superstar player. But even worse than that, it was the phony apology, the interview with Jalen Rose. All that just had a very phony vibe to it. And look, we're all humans. You don't change in 5 days, 7 days, or even 2 weeks. And him getting suspended, missing some games, reflecting, that's all fine. But for Adam Silver, that punishment was mostly a slap on the wrist. And unfortunately for Ja, that suspension didn't wake him up and help him snap back to reality. And look, it might seem harsh to say, but after this second incident and all the incidents he's had, the NBA now has to come down on Ja pretty hard. I hate to say it, but Ja next year might miss 40 games. And why I would give Ja 30 or 40 games is one, to discipline him, send a message league-wide, this behavior is not acceptable, and lastly, to save him from himself. As you don't want to see Ja Morant get hurt, worst case scenario, get shot somehow in the wrong scenario, wrong place, wrong time. You have gangs out in LA making threats on his life. Pretty serious stuff that can escalate quickly. And for an NBA superstar athlete, the heights are at. You should not be involved in stuff like this off the court. And I think suspending Ja for close to 40 games, it could save his life, turn around his life, and give him new perspective. Hopefully that happens with a lengthy suspension. But unfortunately, you have guys in the media, even former players, still caping for Ja Morant and making excuses. And at this point, look, I am rooting for Ja Morant, but at some point, you gotta cut the cord and tell it how it is. It is unfortunate, but Ja at this point has been given 25-second chances and more than enough time to change his ways. And if you're someone on ESPN defending Ja Morant, deflecting from the actual issues, which are Ja Morant, that's pretty shameful and borderline enabling, as this issue is a Ja Morant issue. And not punishing him, being soft on him, that doesn't help anyone. Doesn't help the NBA, its brand, and especially Ja. And when it comes to Charles Barkley, once again this guy is the voice of reason, as he called out ESPN and Steven Jackson for these foolish takes of defending Ja. Once again, this is a Ja Morant issue, nothing else. And being a pro athlete, the face of a franchise, a league, you yourself have to be held to a higher standard on and off the court. As Ja, for better or worse, is role model young kids, middle school kids, high school kids, and probably even college kids. And having that platform, that impact, and that reach, you gotta hold yourself to a higher standard as a grown man, face of a team, a city, and a league. And speaking of the league, Adam Silver once again is the softest Charmin tissue commissioner I've ever seen. This guy's leadership, it's simply embarrassing. He always bends over for the players and shows no leadership. If this was David Stern, he'd be out there in the front lines with an iron fist, laying down the law a long time ago. I'm not going to absolve Ja Morant, but if Stern was in Silver's shoes, I have a pretty hard time thinking Ja would pull the same behavior. As David Stern back in the day, for Allen Iverson, one of the most popular players in the world, he told AI he would kick him out of the league. And once again, looking back at Barkley, what he is saying, it's all common sense. As at the end of the day, Barkley and myself want the best for Ja. If that means suspending him for 40 games, so be it. How many times can you allow a guy, a multimillionaire, to have self-destructive behavior that can end his career? I'm tired of the media, former players, ESPN, making excuses for Ja. And like I said, at this point, you're not only coddling him, but enabling him. If you really support Ja Morant at some point, you gotta get serious, face the facts, face reality, and send a message. So that right there is the end of the video. I'm still a Ja Morant fan and want the best for him, but at some point, you just gotta do what's best for him, even if it hurts him in the short term. Now, as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.